watching the Isaiah Factor Uncensored.
And welcome back to the second half hour of The Factor Uncensored. Thank you for hanging in there with us. Now, a woman from Phoenix is smiling more tonight after a huge change in her life. This is after she survived a fire that claimed all of her hair. She also lost family members in that horrible incident. But years of just buying wigs changed once she found a stylist in Atlanta, Georgia, who changed her life and her look forever. Let's take a look. And we'd like to welcome our guest to the Factor Uncensored tonight. We have with us Sherry Moore, who is in Atlanta, and we have Kanisha Anthony, who is in Phoenix. So, Sherry, I ran across your Instagram site and saw the incredible job you did for Kanisha. And you said she came from Phoenix to Atlanta to get her hair done with you. But before we get to that, Sherry, Kanisha, first of all, tell us you had some injuries as a result of a fire when you were young. Tell us a little bit about that fire and the journey to Sherry in Atlanta.
Yeah, so when I was around 4 years old, I was in a house fire, really bad house fire, and it ended up burning me over 60% of my body. So in the process of all of that, I lost all of my hair except for one little spot on the right side. So I grew up wearing wigs, and I grew up being picked on for wearing wigs. So I've worn them for years, but I've never actually had a chance to actually had it installed and make it look like it actually was coming out of my head. So I think I made a post and just sharing how I'm doing with trying to heal myself. And Sherry found me and she reached out to me on there. And then we got together. I went out to Atlanta, and I mean, she did an amazing job, an amazing job.
And Sherry, when you saw what Tanisha was hoping to do, what went through your mind? Did you say this was a job I can handle, no problem, or let's talk first?
So I cater to women that suffer from hair loss, such as cancer, lupus, and alopecia. So I already deal and I already accommodate women that has been struggling with hair loss. And so when I seen Kanisha, and I was like, wow. I didn't ask her story. I just wanted to just be extremely genuine. I wanted to connect with her. I showed out her page. I was on her page for at least, I want to say, about 45 minutes because I really wanted to learn, who she was and how she navigated, how she showed up for herself, right? And I said, hey, I would love to accommodate you somehow, some way. And we had a conversation and we clicked and we talked and she got on the flight and she came here and I gave her this amazing makeover. And so I custom make wigs. I do them from scratch. I custom make them myself. And the goal is for it to look extremely natural, right? And to give these women a glow, a different type of glow, right? And it's not for you to hide behind the wigs, but it's to push you into being the better version of yourself, accepting exactly who you are, not being ashamed of who you are, but understanding that this just adds to the beauty that you already have, making women feel absolutely amazing, pushing them into, not just being the best version of themselves or absolutely like seeing them for who they are. I'm the type of person, I'll be like, wow, but you got a great like nose, like your nose structure is amazing. Like, your forehead is like really dope. Like you got great eyebrows, great, eyelashes. And so when you point out those are the things that they cannot see. When they're going through their struggles with hair loss, all they see is that I'm struggling with hair loss. Not to mention this is 2025, right? So wigs are normal. I have a head full of hair. I wear wigs just because. We got stars, celebrities wear, your favorite celebrity wear wigs. They are natural and normal. So it's not even weird for you to even be wearing a wig in 2025 like it was back in the day when you was a kid and you was in high schoolers. The 14-year-olds, the 15-year-olds, they are wearing wigs, gray wigs, purple wigs, green wigs. And so it's not out of the ordinary. So it's easier for them to embrace what I do on a totally different level. And while doing that, I am also pushing them into, embracing who they are and showing it on a different level. And so when they showing up for themselves, they're not just showing up for them, they're representing and showing up for anyone else that is going through the same thing and helping them come out in the open.
And Kanisha, when you had that moment of reveal, when you saw yourself in the mirror, what was that like for you?
It felt good. It felt like like I said, I've worn wigs for a long time, but for it to actually feel like it was my hair, it felt special. So, I mean, if I could have cried, I would have cried, but my makeup looked too good, okay? They did a wonderful
You got your
job.
priorities, huh?
Yes, yes. But it just felt like, oh my gosh, okay, I can still feel like I actually have hair. It might not grow for real, but we can make it look like it.
Hmm.
And Sherry, when you see how they appreciate the magic that you have created for them, the transformation, what does that do for you when you see that sparkle in their eye?
It is so rewarding. I can't even express how amazing it makes me feel to be able to do that for other women. Um, my mother, she had cancer. And I remember her saying on her deathbed, she said, you have to come up with a solution for women like me that are losing their hair. And I started with just cancer, but then I realized that people are losing their hair for multiple different reasons. And so the reward in that is for them to feel beautiful, for them to know themselves, for themselves and by themselves, and embrace and blossom into the woman that they always been.
And when your mom told you that, did you feel like this was a journey you had to take and a wish from your mother you had to fulfill?
Absolutely. And I feel like I'm living through her, you know? Like, the sacrifice, because, she was like, she said, I'm ready to go be with God. I'm tired of fighting this cancer. I'm tired, And so before I, lay my head to rest, I need you to know that you have to find a solution. Being that you have front row seats to what I've been through and you share the emotion with me, you have to be able to go out there in the world and cater to women and do the right thing. And that's not it. No questions asked.
We're not done with that conversation just yet. Stay with us here on The Factor Uncensored. We'll be right back. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We've been telling you the story of a woman from Phoenix who lost her hair as a result of a devastating fire. We continue that conversation now with the hairstylist who says just because you lose your hair doesn't mean you lose you.
And Kanisha, for you, knowing that there is a Sherry in the world to help women who may have hair problems or hair loss issues like you, what does that do for you knowing that she is there just a flight away?
It just makes me happy, and not only for myself, but for other people. Other people have been reaching out, like, "Where have you got your hair done? Who did this? Who?" Like, and it just makes me happy that other people will be going to sit in her chair and get an opportunity to have a makeover and to have a chance to feel like they have the hair that they've always wanted.
Hmm.
And Sherry, for many women out there, the hair is their crown. And then they love it, and it makes them light up during the
Hmm.
day or any part of the day of their life. So when you see women who are in need and you're able to help many of them out there, what is that like for you? And what are some of the other instances where there may be hair loss, like alopecia, some of the other problems that you work on for people that may be coming from around the country?
And so one thing's for certain, two things for sure. I try to get them to unlearn certain things and relearn. And so for a long time, we have been taught that our hair is our crown, right? But that is not true. I know a lot of bald women, bold women, courageous women that cut their hair off just cuz. Or maybe somebody passed away in their family and that's the trend that they
Mhm.
everybody cut their hair off, right? Or if your mom or somebody's gone through cancer, they'll go bald just to go through the same motions with their mom or their friend, right? And so the truth of the matter is that your hair is not necessarily your crown, right? Your hair is just it's an accessory. It's like putting on a jacket. It's like putting on a pair of pants. It adds to the nakedness, right? And so
Mhm.
I always teach them, like, I need you to love who you are for real. I need you to love down to the shape of your head, to the way that your eyebrows are shaped. I need you to understand exactly who you are. And at any given time, when you don't feel like putting on a wig, you won't have to. You won't feel like there's no pressure. This is who I am, and it is what it is. Because the truth of the matter is, nobody really cares the way that you think that they care. They don't care the way that you think that they care. They are not looking at you the way that you think that they are looking at you. Some are. But with
Mhm.
social media and everything being so big and so broad, we know what's going on. We know what's going on. Our grandmamas is cutting their hair short just cause. We have the Amber Roses, and we have people that represent bald and boldness for no reason at all. It's not because they're going through something. It's just because they just don't, they're tired of the hair, you know?
Right.
And they believe that without the hair, you can really see your beauty anyway when your hair is out your face. And so I teach them that. Like, this is just an accessory. It's like putting on a jacket. Be okay with who you are. And eventually, that's what, that's what happens. I have a lot of clients that have gone bald. They shaved all their hair off and they outside just like that. And they put a wig on when they want to put a wig on, and they don't when they. I have clients that their husbands never even seen their hair, right? Because they was told that your hair is your crown, and so you can't never be seen without hair. What kind of woman would you ever be if you was to ever expose yourself, or what kind of woman would you ever be if you don't expose yourself? If you don't come to terms with who you are, right? Because half of the times when you losing your hair is not something that you can't help that. You have alopecia. You was diagnosed with cancer. You have lupus. This is your life. And everybody has a purpose in life. Everybody gets served different sets of cards. And when you get your cards, you just got to know how to play your hand.
We're not done with this conversation just yet here on The Factor Uncensored. There is more, so stick with us. We'll be back with more after the break. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We've told you tonight how Sherry Moore, the hairstylist in Atlanta, is changing women's lives. But she says she wants to spread that. She now calls what she does a ministry. Let's take a look.
And Kanisha, to you, did you have that mindset that we just heard from Sherry, where this is who I am? I just want to do this because I just want to do it, but I'm fine with the way I am in life.
Absolutely. I'm a person that lives with confidence. I love myself no matter what. No matter what. I don't care about the scars or anything. I think the big difference for me is with the way my head is. I can't necessarily go out in public with it uncovered. I can't let the sun hit my head. So for me, a wig or a cap is a necessity. It's not a choice. But for her to sit there and still be able to let me have that experience was great for me. So yes, I do have the confidence, but she just built on it, and that was amazing for me.
And Kanisha, how did your family react to it?
Oh, they loved it. I called my husband. I FaceTimed him. My son was with me. They loved it. They loved it.
All right. And Sherry, your whole thing, you were headed to Atlanta to take a load off. You was about to retire.
I was trying
And
to fire
now, now you're busier than ever.
busier than ever. Yep.
What's next for you now? Do you just continue to change lives with what you do, your artistry with the hair?
Yep. So I tell a lot of people what I do as a ministry. It's on a totally different type of level. I'm not just a hairstylist, right? I don't just do hair, right? I heal hearts. And I can't stress that enough. I'm making a major impact, and it's genuinely coming from the heart. And so when I have these conversations and I take on these issues, and I sometimes I even pray for my clients. We will hold hands and we will pray you through these emotions and pray you through these obstacles that you're going through, because it's a real thing. So right now I'm actually building a community for women that are struggling with hair loss, because it goes across the board. No matter what your issues is, I mean, you can be losing your hair just because of the side effects from medicine. That's how severe, just losing your hair could be. And it can happen at the drop of a dime, and it can happen to anybody. You could wake up tomorrow, you could be stressing about something and lose your hair, right? And so a lot of women who lose their hair lose their confidence. So how can we fix that? By having a community, by having women who are already past that, who are already tapped into who they are, who already accepted that this is what's happening to them or what has already happened, right? And so because I can't necessarily tap into that my own, because I've never experienced it with myself, I have had cancer. I've had uterine cancer. I've experienced having fibroids, and those are the things that actually break your hair up, but it wasn't severe where it gave me bald spots and patches, right? But I was also depressed about losing my hair, with my hair just
Mhm.
breaking off, right? And so I can just imagine what the other woman has gone through if my hair is just breaking off, because I'm just used to having a head full of hair. My hair is breaking off and I'm losing my mind. I can just imagine what these women are going through, because you have to go through the stages that I went through to even get to where they are.
Kanisha can attest to that. And we want to thank you both for sharing your stories here on The Factor Uncensored. And great job to you, Sherry, once again.
Thank
And
you
of
so
course,
much.
congratulations to you, Kanisha. Thank you
Thank
all for joining
you.
us here tonight on The
Thank
Factor
you.
Uncensored.
Now, if you want to track down Sherry Amore, she's on Instagram and located in Atlanta, Georgia. Go to her Instagram page at The Real Sherry Amore.